This one came out of a centrifuge, I believe, and this is probably what goes into the centrifuge. We're going to try dewatering this in a screw press. We've got this little 6-inch press running. And that'll feed the material into the screened area of the press. It's set up for fluid injection, steam or alcohol or something. We won't be using that feature, but the liquid should come through the screen. The cake will come out this end. The white door is being pushed shut by an air cylinder. The more air pressure we give it, the drier the cake will come out, but the lower the capacity. We're going to start with just 15 psi, 1 bar, because we think that'll be about as much as we can use on this, if it works at all. We have doubts about the material. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Usually we can't get any water out of the material coming from a centrifuge. We'll see what happens. We're in the Vincent's test area. These are all screw presses that are used for testing. We're going to pre-thicken the whole stillage with this static screen. Openings look like about 20 thousandths of an inch. We'll just run them fluid down there, catch the solids, and run them in the press. And this is the test area where we have a variety of machines set up for tests just such as this. Okay, we've started feeding the DDG into the screw press. Okay, screw's covered, but you hold off a bit, and there you see the screw feeding it in. There's no water coming out, but we're feeding out here. I'm now going to close this discharge door, and we'll start filling up the press. It'll take most of a pail to fill up the press, and then we'll get some footage of what happens once it starts working. The cake is starting to come out, and but we're not getting any water out. We're forcing a bit of moisture there through the screen, but no liquid in the pan. With that, I'm going to run the air pressure up. You can see the cone closing up as I increase the air pressure on the discharge. I'm up to wow, 60 psi. I better back off a little bit. I'll go to 3 bar, 45 psi. So we're running at 45 psi, and as I predicted, we're not able to squeeze any water out of this. If it changes, I'll start the camera again. I'm going to get a sample. We have as received samples. After pressing, should be the same moisture content since we haven't done anything here. Okay, here's the action. Barely any liquid coming out. What we're going to do is show you something different, which does work for DDG, which is not human consumption, cattle consumption. We're going to add some fiber to assist the digesting process in the cattle that eat this material. We're going to blend in some cottonseed hulls, which are commonly added to cattle feed, and see if we can get any water out if we do that. Yes, there's a nice press, and screw presses are us. We're going to take the sample, and we've calculated from our scale that we should add 1.6 pounds of cottonseed hulls, and so just add so it goes up 3.6 pounds. Okay, we're going 5% by weight. I think 3% works, but I'm not sure. We'll see what we can get with 5%. The cottonseed hulls are a waste agricultural product, very, very cheap. Here we are blending the cottonseed hulls in with the DDG. Okay, we're starting to feed in the mixture of DDG with 5% cottonseed hulls. As soon as it gets enough in there to start push something out, I'll close the cone. it's starting to come out. For a while I wouldn't expect any liquid if we're going to get any, because we're still full of the material without the cottonseed hulls. Darn it, the last time I did this it really worked, but I'm not getting any action here. I'm running at 30 hertz, so I'm running slow, and I've got the air pressure up to 5 bar, 75 psi, and I'm still not getting liquid to squeeze out of this DDG. Darn. Thought I'd have something dramatic. Okay, we're going to store this overnight because it's pretty cold in case the room temperature changes. This is the warmest spot in the company because our Australian cattle dog just had her first litter, 10 puppies. And so we're keeping this place warm for her. Here we are trying to pre-thicken the material. This is the stillage. This is working. You can see water coming out. So we're getting some pre-thickening. I was afraid maybe the 020 20 thousandths 500 micron screen was too tight, but it drains reasonably well. This is a very short DSM screen, only about 30 inches. Normally in a paper mill we use 60 inches of screen. This little screen is designed with a hole here so it bolts directly onto a screw press. Short height, easy transition, inexpensive for minor industrial applications. What we're going to try and do here is equal the performance of a centrifuge decanter. If we can make it as dry as a decanter, you're far better off using a screw press because it has much less wear power and a very small motor compared to a decanter. But, the spare parts replacement are negligible in this. Okay, this is how much we got off the screen, and we poured 10 gallons in, got about 3.5 out. Okay. We're hoping we can get this thick enough to push this material out. I was running at 75 psi, and I've lowered the air pressure down to a 2 bar, 30 psi, but it has to get pretty thick before it can push that stuff out. Okay, we're starting to get a more flow of water. So the press is removing water. The goal here would be to make press cake with the same moisture content as you get out of a decanter. Level is going down very slowly. We're getting a low throughput capacity in the press. You can see it's churning. The flow's going towards the gearbox instead of into the press. That's because the screw is pushing material into the screen. It's not going in, and so it's backing up. Although we're still getting out water, so maybe it'll get thick enough to start making some cake. Oh, we're getting a little bit of cake coming out here. Go ahead and run it in. What we're doing here is throwing in cottonseed hulls to try and chase out some press cake. We didn't have enough sample off our DSM screen to get a cake coming out of the press. So we're using the cottonseed hulls just as a chaser to push out some, see if we can get some press cake for moisture analysis. This is the material we pressed, and you'll see it has quite a bit of water in it. Yeah, see the stream of water falling out. So this is a lot wetter than the DDG that you sent us. So we didn't do as well as the decanter, for sure. Of course, we had low air pressure, and we're struggling here. But it's rough for a screw press to match a decanter in this application. Probably why decanters are used predominantly. This is the screw department. The guys have knocked off. There ought to be a couple guys welding tonight. We're on the second shift. But this is where we manufacture the screws. Here's the flights that we use, small presses, bigger presses. There's some big presses, came from ADM trade-ins, and here's the assembly department. Here's the assembly department, second shift. It's empty. It's the first of the year we shipped everything but the kitchen sink in December. Screw department, a screen department over in there where we're manufacturing screens. There's the frames of 4 presses. There's another 5 like it around here. We do make presses for the corn wet milling industry. 2 main applications: fiber, head of the dryer, we're good at that, and germ, dewatering the germ before it goes to the oil extraction plant. At the oil extraction plant we do foots. This is Thursday morning. We're going to give this one last try. This is the DGG with the 5% cottonseed hulls. We'll see if getting them up to room temperature, they sat overnight, does any good. I'll run the cone in. That's at low air pressure. If it starts working, we'll crank up the air pressure. Here's the fist test on this material. You can't squeeze any liquid out with your hand or even get a drop between your fingers. I'm not getting a film out of this, and so there's no moisture that a screw press can take out. And sure enough, we're not getting. I've got the air pressure up to 4 bar, 60 psi, and no luck. We're up to 100 psi, still no liquid coming out. We took off the air pressure, opened the cone, emptying the press. We're running moisture tests, and I can see various samples in there. That would have been press liquor, and yeah, a lot of samples here. We'll have the results pretty soon.